So recently I saw Carlito's Way, which stars Al Pacino, and essentially he plays this former criminal who gets out of jail because of a technicality. He was supposed to serve 30 years, and he served 5 years. And basically has a second leash on life, and he really wants to reform his ways, and he really wants out of the criminal life. And as we go on the movie, that doesn't really happen. And one scene in the movie got me thinking, and I'll show it right now to you.
I gotta do this, just this one thing, and then I'm out. I owe Dave.
You don't know I'm shit! You think you do, Charlie? That's the problem with you. That's why nobody like you gets out, no matter what they say.
You're not listening to me, girl.
Because everything you learned in the neighborhood, every instinct you've got won't do anything but get you killed!
Now, this leads back to the question of, can we ever really change? And I think this is such a really interesting question because as human beings, we all have our faults, and at times our faults can be of a hindrance to us, whether it is an addiction or an abusive behavior. Now, I think the part where Carlito's personality really bit him in the butt was he has this code in the sense that he helps his friend David because David had done a favor to him. Now, growing up the way he did, he thinks, David did a favor for me, I in turn must return a favor. And I think when you put it that way, I think it's a very natural reaction to have. If someone lets me borrow $1, I'm naturally going to want to reciprocate that and lend him some money as well. Now, this really bites Carlito in the tuchus because in the criminal life that he comes back to, this really isn't the philosophical approach to get. Basically, it's a dog-eat-dog world where we're going to find anything to nip you in the bud. We're going to find any little nook and cranny. We're going to find every little advantage to hurt you.
So fuck you, fuck the street. Your whole goddamn world's this big, and there's only one rule. You save your own ass.
On the contrary, you can really argue that Carlito's criminal mentality really comes up to bite him in the butt again through his dealings with Benny from the Bronx. So essentially, Benny from the Bronx gets into a scuffle with Carlito's best friend David over liking the same girl. Now, being the loyal friend that Carlito is, he comes into the defense of his friend David. He really just takes out Benny from the Bronx in the back of the club and just really gives him a good whack. Now, of course, you can think to yourself, why not just, I don't know, call the cops or have him banned from the club or just some other way to deal with this problem other than beating up on this poor guy or beating up on this guy. Now, living in the criminal underworld or living in the criminal world that Carlito does, you can really understand that giving a person a good whack, beating somebody up, just sends that message across. Now, of course, on that flip side, living in this criminal world, showing an ounce of weakness or getting beat up like that, now you're thinking from Benny from the Bronx's perspective, of course a retaliation is coming on. Now, this comes true as we see in the end. Benny from the Bronx ends up being the one who does kill Carlito.
Remember me? Benny Blanco from the Bronx?
Another instance where you can say that Carlito's mentality really gets in the way of his redemption is the scene where he gets offered a deal by the cops to rat out his best friend David. Now, we learn in the movie that David all along was ratting out Carlito and trying to get him rearrested. In spite of learning this, Carlito really refuses to do this, and this is backed by a foundation he's learned growing up that it is wrong to rat out other people.
Never give up your friends, Dave, no matter what.
So, do human beings have the capacity for change? According to previous research, this answer is yes.
Yes!
According to previous research, as we grow older, we in turn change ourselves, change our personalities. Now, if you think about it, this makes sense because if you think about the person you were 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 5 years ago, we are different from the person we are today. When you think about all the stupid decisions we all made growing up, and this can attest to my life as well. I've changed as I've grown up. Also, certain characteristics are more likely to change than others. For example, one of the biggest characteristics that are more likely to change are extroversion. For example, if you were that shy kid back in elementary school and now you've changed to this really outgoing kind of guy, those type of personalities, those types of characteristics are more likely to change. On the other hand, the least likely characteristic to change is openness to experience. So once you've experienced something, once you have a certain perspective or mindset in your mind, it is really hard to change that. And we can see that with Carlito. He really has that criminal mentality, that code ingrained within himself, and he's not open to have other mindsets or philosophical views or theoretical approaches. So that's it, guys. What do you think? I think this question of whether we can really change really depends on us personally, and it really affects not only our practice, but also our personal life as well. If you believe that people have the capacity for change, or do you believe that people are always set in their ways? So what do you guys think? Like, share, and comment below. Thank you.